a top 5 season storylines edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up if you approve of the content. I appreciate that as well. Hit notifications. You'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me. You can locate me. Call in line 312-900-8815. Great news, everybody. Football season's right around the corner. It's going to be here very soon. It's still warm out, but where I live, Illinois, Chicago suburbs, you can feel the tinge of falliness in the air. Even some leaves are turning colors. Here's the ultimate sign the football season's almost here, though. It happened to me today twice. Driving around doing my work meetings and going here and there. Advertisements for the Spirit Halloween store. They're hiring. Once you start seeing that, football's right around the corner. I was so excited to see that Spirit Halloween store. It's almost here. So, with that in mind, it's a good idea to discuss the top storylines of the season for this Notre Dame team before it starts, so that we can identify ahead of time the most important items in the program that are going to determine the success this year and be able to monitor how they are progressing throughout the year. Okay? Now, keep in mind, this is my top 5 list. Maybe you have a different item on the list. Maybe you have something in mind that I didn't even think of that would be in your top 5 overall bullet points of big picture storylines to watch. So keep that in mind. And if I'm missing anything or you would swap one out, let me know. Also, these items are not necessarily in terms of like one's more important than 5. These are just the 5 big ones that come to my mind first. Okay. So they're not organized in a numerical way of terms of importance. Let's get right into it. Number 1, I think we have to start with the spotlight and pressure on Marcus Freeman and the beginning of the Freeman era. Tough start right out of the gate. You had the weird bowl game dynamic and everything that was in flux during that period of time. That was very weird. Just the timing and the flow of everything was not normal at all, and it was all kind of a cluster. So that was tough. Now, you walk into Ohio State at the Horseshoe week 1. So the pressure is on Marcus. He's a work in progress as a head coach. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that or don't want to acknowledge it, but it's true. He is a work in progress. He is an upscale, high-end potential, but he's not there yet. So the elite recruiting is the engine that's going to drive this early while he's learning on the job. But he is not a finished product as a head coach, and he's a work in progress. Early on, here's how I'm looking at this. Early on in the year, I'm looking for a difference from this program in terms of energy, vibe, emotion, intensity, the kind of things that sometimes lacked under Brian Kelly. Early on, I'm looking for that from Marcus. Is there a different feel and a different vibe and a different energy around this team and this program, especially around our biggest games, which would be week 1 included, obviously, right? But then later in the year, as Marcus gets a little more comfortable, then I'm looking for more evidence of confident and comfortable coaching at that point, okay? So the bowl game, I admit, you all know how much I love Marcus. And I don't care what anybody else says online. There's one person who started the Freeman Factor, a hashtag, and it wasn't all the people making t-shirts off it right now. All right? A guy who did it a year before he was the head coach. I'll let you guess who that guy is. So I'm all about the Freeman Factor, and I love him. But I admit, there were parts of that bowl game where it looked to me like Marcus was kind of struggling on the sidelines, like, now I'm the head guy. Now what? What exactly am I supposed to have my hands in now? You know, not calling the defense and all that. I felt like I saw that from him in a bowl game. That's a work in progress. One, I'm more than willing to wait through as long as that elite recruiting keeps coming and coming and coming. Okay? So I'm supremely confident Marcus is going to develop into a fine head coach. That's not the real question. The question is, how long does that process take? Is the real question. Okay? So have a little patience. Know that it'll be a fast learner. And also know that the better he recruits, the easier it makes everything else to get up to speed. So, number one overall has to be, how is Marcus Freeman going to handle his first true game and year at the helm? That's number one. Number two, entire staff continuity. Lots of moving parts, lots of new faces. I think most folks, myself included, think that this staff ended up being a very nice blend of young and old that creates a nice energy, culture, stability, balance. I want to see a well-oiled machine, okay? And you're going to need that to compete against Ohio State. You can't have this be, you walk in the horseshoe and everybody's confused and nobody knows who's doing what. We're blowing Brian Kelly timeouts the first play. We don't have the right package in. This guy doesn't know what they're doing. No. You need a smooth operation right away to have a chance in that ball game. Also, if we're looking at how the staff's blending and all that and the new faces and the new names, some old guys, some young guys, I really do love that balance. I love the balance in that coaching staff right now. In my opinion, regarding all these new coaches, Chancey Stuckey has the toughest job by far, in my opinion, of any new assistant coach on this staff. Both in terms of recruiting to make up for everything that wasn't done in that area in recruiting the last few years, and in terms of getting production from his group this year, knowing it's deficient, knowing it's short on numbers, knowing there's some injury concerns, all of that. So, in my opinion, Stuckey by far is in the toughest spot of all these assistant coaches. He's just got a lot of work to do. In his defense, so far, so good. I think most people are pretty happy with what he's doing in wide receiver recruiting. So we need to see that success carry over for him to be able to find a way to get the most out of the group he has this year before those reinforcements in 23, 24, 25 get there. Okay. But in my opinion, there's no doubt he has the toughest job of anybody on the staff right away. Here's number three. Tyler Buchner needs to stay healthy and be really, really good. For Notre Dame to reach their goals this year, those are both necessities. Those are both absolute requirements. I do not think Notre Dame can have a double-digit plus win season without both of these being true. Healthy and really damn good. All right? I say all the time on this program, I speak about the frustration I have about the lack of Tyler Buchner's developmental arc moving in its natural way because of things that are nobody's fault. A year he lost to an injury, a year he lost to COVID cancellations. It's just very, very frustrating. The bottom line is Notre Dame cannot afford to not know after this year exactly what you have in Tyler Buchner. So you need him healthy and really damn good and effective. Here's number 4. Can Reese's offense overall start being a reason Notre Dame wins its biggest games? I'm going to say that again. I'm using my language very specific on purpose. Can Reese's offense start being a reason Notre Dame wins their biggest games? The last 5 years, we've had the 10-plus win seasons, made the playoff, all that. Nobody can deny that's been primarily built on the strength and the shoulders of what this defense has become. The defense has been the strength of the program through this good run since 2017, which we should and do take a lot of pride in. But to get to the next level, being elite, both sides of the ball have to be units you're winning because of, not with, because of. All right? That's the next evolution of this offense. They need to be electric to match up with a really good defense. Now, the offensive line should be way better than anything we saw last year right away. That is ultra encouraging to this item in this project. Okay, you know you have a monster tight end. Quarterback, we still got to see how that's going to shake out and develop. Wide receiver questions remain. I have a lot of them. Makes me nervous. Nobody can get hurt all year. That's basically the depth situation. That's it. Nobody can get hurt all year, or you're going to have 10 Matt Salernos out there, walk-ons, fair catching, whatever. Okay? So nobody can get hurt all year, wide receiver room. Let's bank on that. Sounds like a good plan. So you got that issue. The running back room went from one of the groups I loved and felt great about to another group where you're one injury away from, now what? Okay? So I think overall, that offensive line being way, way better to start the year than last year, that's going to be a huge deal. Anything you want to get going with this offense starts and ends with that group and Harry at the helm. I feel some comfort that there's going to be some growing pains in this offense. But if that offensive line is very, very good, it gives us a great chance to be able to establish some things this year. Okay? So that's number 4. Can this offense start being a reason you win big games? I said big. I'm talking the biggest games on your schedule. I am not impressed if you put 40 on Marshall or Cal. Not impressed. You should do that. Do it against Clemson. Do it against Ohio State. Do it against USC. Now I'm interested. Okay, now I'm interested. So can that offense take that next step? Or is that the kind of thing that's a year away because of some of the developmental and depth issues that we've spoken on and about? All right. So listen, Tommy Rees, he's labeled a genius by people that are experts in this industry. He may have to actually be one because I do expect some struggles here. So I just do. There's too many parts of this offense I can't trust and can't rely on as I sit here today. With the defense, I don't feel the same way. I have more confidence that I know what I'm going to get from that group. So there's just a lot of instability and a lot of things that are unproven and some shaky depth here that causes me some anxiety. But it would be very, very nice if we don't get in one of these great matchups and the defense feels like they have to pitch a shutout for us to win. That offense has to get modern, get explosive soon, like now. Number 5, can Al Golden's defense get even better than what we've leaned on the last 5 years? That's the expectation, and quite frankly, it's a big one. Al Golden is squarely on the other side of the coin that Chancey Stuckey's in. So I said that I thought Stuckey had the toughest job of any of these assistants. I think Al Golden is on the other side of that because of what we just went over. It's no secret. The defense has been really, really good, the backbone of the program 5 years. And we expect that to continue with this group. So this is a very, very tough thing to ask when something already is really, really good and the new guy's expected to get it even better. That's a tough ask, but it's exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need. Okay, while the defense has been good enough for 10 plus wins the last handful of years, we couldn't stop the best teams we play at all. Clemson healthy in 2020, playoff games, for example. You need more elite talent to win those ball games. All right, simple as that. I didn't even count Miami in 17, Big House 19 in this discussion. We had more or at least equal talent than those teams. Those were a unique kind of failure. Those were a different kind of failure. Those were the Brian Kelly specialty failure. To have a team totally not emotionally and mentally prepared to enter a war against people that hate us. Hate us. Miami people hate us. Michigan people hate us. I hate them. Okay? Everybody seemed to get that dynamic in the emotion, except for Brian Kelly. He had us punching in and punching out, sitting in our cubicle like good little boys and girls, typing our spreadsheet in, no emotion at all. So those were a different kind of failure, okay? Brian Kelly motivational failure to launches is what that is. And I'm glad he's now launched away from South Bend and away from this program. So what are we looking for out of this defense? I'm looking for more raw athletes that cover space, more disruption, more carnage, more physicality, more negative plays, more turnovers, all of that. All of the top features you would expect to see from a top-end elite defense. That's what I need to see. And I need to see it against the best teams we play. The best. Okay? Because when you're in a playoff situation, that's who you're facing. That's the bar. The bar isn't Cal or Marshall or Stanford. No. The bar is what you do against the elites. Guess what? Week 1, you're going to have your chance to pull out the measuring stick and see where we stack up in this regard. Now, these are my top 5 storylines. How does Freeman adjust to all the pressure year 1? How does the entire staff blend and come together to form a cohesive unit, getting results out of their individual groups, all coming together to play as a team? Number 3, Buckner's got to be healthy and good. Number 4, I need boy wonder genius Tommy Rees. I need that offense to not be dragged along by the defense. I need them to start carrying their own weight. Put up 40 a game. Okay? Boy, genius. Every time you hear anybody on the radio or anything, he's a genius. He's a genius. He's a genius. Put up 40 against Ohio State then, and you're a genius. All right? I need results out of that group. You can't expect the Notre Dame defense to carry us to a championship. This isn't 1965. You need to score. Anyways, number 5, Al Golden's defense. Sorry, I got wound up. I've been known to do that. So these are my top 5 storylines. Big picture, stuff here. We're going to get a lot more into specific players and player groups and what we need to see out of certain guys this year. As we get closer to the season, we're going to start analyzing that. I think when we get into camp and the people that are able to see camp start reporting on what the depth chart looks like, that's a good time to start getting into who we need to emerge and to do what. So we will get into that. Here's what I want to finish on, though. Very important. Very important. Keep this in mind, everybody. The one constant that is going to help all 5 of these items progress in a way we all love fast. The best way to keep that trend going is more elite recruiting. More elite recruiting. I didn't say regular recruiting. Elite recruiting. All right? The more talent you have, the easier it makes all of these jobs to get accomplished I just went over. For the coaches, for the players, talent, talent, talent. It's going to make everything easier as this staff begins the new era of Notre Dame football. I want to know if you think there's anything I'm missing. My special team stuff, it just didn't make the top 5, but I need it to be good. Let me know if there's anything I've missed, a big picture. Talk to you soon. Have a good night.